mode.
All right, welcome to the Ultriva Rules and Alerts webinar, part 2. If you can hear me, please raise your hand on the GoToMeeting panel. You'll have a little icon to raise your hand. All right, excellent. I see some hands going up. Glad you can hear me. All right, we're ready to jump right in. My name is Lori McNeely, and I've been supporting Ultriva for more than 5 years now. And joining me is Scott Stickles. He has been with Ultriva for over 7 years himself. If you have any questions, please use that question box in the GoToMeeting panel. We'll try to get to those as we go through the webinar or at the very end. We will be recording this webinar. We're going to have it available on the help site so that you can view that in the future. And in fact, we are recording that right now. We do plan on having these the third Thursday of the month. Our next one is going to be March 20th. And we are doing these in Ultriva versions 7.5 and higher. Our agenda for today is we're going to review a few things from the last session as we go through this. And we're going to learn how to create a grid alert when the grouping feature is used. This is primarily what we will be going over today. We'll also go through the new webinar portion of the help site. We've changed that around a little bit, and I'll show that to you. And we're going to have a few surveys throughout the webinar, and we will, of course, give you the results of those as well. So some general information about the rules. You set those up to get alerts, and those get generated when something happens in Ultriva or doesn't happen. Something we said the last time, wanted to reiterate that this time. Do not edit or make any changes to any rules that are going to a table. They will look just like this. If they're going to a table, those are your integration rules, so we don't want to mess that up, so leave those alone. And also still wanted to point out there's a How Do I feature when you're viewing the rules list, and I will show you that this time. Okay, so when you're grouping these email alerts, generally the alert is sent immediately. If we use the grouping instead, anything that's triggered within that particular time frame that you select, it's going to be delivered in just one email. And a few things to keep in mind. The grouping might not be useful in every single situation. If you have something that's time critical that you want folks to respond to, whether that be a reschedule, if you're grouping that every 12 hours, the supplier might be gone for the day and they won't be able to respond to that reschedule until the next day. Another kind of a real life example, someone had wanted to be notified whenever suppliers shipped the goods, so whenever they did a shipment, so that the receiving department would be ready for that. They were grouping it every hour. However, they had a supplier that was just right down the street, 15 minutes away, so they shipped some goods. And then, the goods got there and the receiver was like, oh, wait, hey, I didn't know these were coming. So kind of keep that in mind. If something is time critical, you may need to set up a couple of rules and maybe exclude some suppliers, or just kind of keep it in mind. In the past, prior to version 7.0, in the older version, if you're using the grouping, this would kind of be your default. Things would be listed one right after the other in the email. And so now with version 7.0 and higher, we can now turn that into a grid alert. And so it makes it much easier to read, and you can see things at a glance much easier. So keeping in mind, with the grouping, this default view and this grid alert, with this nice format, we have a poll question for you. So Scott, if you could go ahead and launch our first poll question, please. All right, so right now, do you have a grouping alert? And if you do, is it in this default format, kind of one right after the other, or is it in a grid alert? And maybe you're not sure. So submit your vote when you get a chance. And see votes still coming in. All right. Ooh, looks like a lot of the people voted. Starting to level off now. All right, I think we can go ahead and close that and show folks. It looks pretty split. It looks like some of you do have this default view, the default alert, and it looks like some folks aren't sure at this time which one you're using. And it looks like just maybe a few people are using this grid format. All right, we can go ahead and hide that. All right, we got our poll question out of the way. And so using the grouping, we came up with some best practices here. So if you're using grouping, you should really only use this for the email option. If you do still want that browser alert, you'll want a separate alert for the browser portion. And the reason being, using the grouping, it's not going to show up as well in the browser. It's going to look funny, especially if you're going to use this new grid format that we're going to talk about today. And we do recommend that you set these up on your test site first. Test it, look, make sure that you have all the fields that you want, everything's in the right format, the right order, and then after you get that tested, move that to the live site, and it'll be easier if you copy paste the body of that message when you move that to the live site. And I'll certainly go over the best way to do this here in a few minutes. And also, when we're creating this grid alert, there is a specific syntax that has to be followed exactly so that this alert gets generated and looks in this nice format. Okay, so with that, I will jump back over to our website here, and we'll start out on the rule, creating a couple of these. So I'm kind of logged in maybe to my test site. If you click on admin rules, that takes us to our rules. And if we look, maybe I want to, I have this rule for when an order gets released. And this is the one that I want to create a grid alert for. And if I look and use the grouping, so if I look, this one is going to the browser and email. I still want to have a browser alert, so what I'll go ahead and do is I'll go ahead and edit this one. And we will go ahead, I'll click next here. And what I want to do is uncheck email, because we're going to be setting up a new one for our grid alert, but we still want this. Okay, we'll go ahead and do next here and finish. All right, so now we have our browser alert ready for when an order gets released. So now we want to start on our grid alert. And I guess before I go too far, I'll scroll back up here. When we're on this rules list, we do have the how do I don't know if anybody's noticed that or not, but if I click this how do I, it will open up the help site for the rules and kind of go over a lot of the stuff we went over in the last webinar. And then also for each of the rules, for those options, we have a little bit more information on that to kind of help you determine which rule that you might want to add. So the how do I is right there. All right, so now I will jump back in. We're ready to start adding our new alert. So for this one, I'm going to do like maybe a daily digest. Do this for every 24 hours whenever an order gets released. So I'll call this maybe a digest rule for, I'll just maybe type it digest for orders released. And so when an order is released to a supplier, I'll select that. Last time, we pointed out you can filter this for specific items or suppliers. I'll go ahead and do next. All right, so here we want to uncheck browser and check mark email and decide how often you want this. And for my example, I want to do this every 24 hours. We decide who we want to have this. I'll add the supplier contact. I will go ahead and add myself as well. For the message subject, right now I'm pretending to be on my test site, so maybe I want to start out my message subject with test, and then I'll say digest for orders released. And something that you might want to consider in the future as well, more and more folks are using Ultriva, and there are a lot of suppliers out there. To make things a little bit easier, you might want to think about adding your plant name to the subject so that they will know who you are. So, I'm just going to use my initials, so I'm just going to be the LJM plant. And next, we are here at the message body. So I'm going to jump back to our slide presentation so we're ready to kind of start the body of our email. All right, so at the very beginning on the syntax that we need to follow to do this grid alert, we have to start with an open brace and then the pipe symbol so that it looks like that. And then the very end of the alert needs to end with the pipe symbol followed by a closed brace so that it looks like that. So this is how we started out. And then the rest of the stuff we're going to put in the middle. The next thing we would want to add would be the headers. And for the headers, we start that and end that with a pipe symbol and a dash so that it looks like this. And then our headers that we want to do are going to go in the middle of that. And so now we're ready to add our headers, and we start that with an exclamation point, and then we put our headers in, type exactly what we want our headers to be, and we separate that by each one by exclamation points. So we start with that exclamation point and then type in what we want. In this case, the release date, card ID, our PO number, and ship date. And that's our headers. Next, we need to, we would insert the fields that we want to insert. And when we insert the fields, we want to start with the pipe symbol and then insert whatever we want separated by pipe symbols. And you want to be sure when you're doing this that we're putting them in the same order as our headers. So we start with our pipe symbol here down below that. And then we insert our field, and then we do another pipe symbol, insert our next field, and then it ends up looking like this. If you recall from the last time, when you insert a field, it's going to be in braces, and so anything that's in these braces, we don't want to edit or make any changes to, because that's where Ultriva is pulling that information from the database for this particular order. And that's pretty much it. So now I will jump back over to our website here, and we'll start this out. So first thing, we start with the brace, open brace, and a pipe symbol. I'm going to drop down a few lines, and we end it with the pipe symbol and a brace. Okay, next came the headers, and to do the headers, we start and end that with a pipe and a dash. And I'll drop down a couple lines. We'll do another pipe and a dash. We'll go back up, and in the middle of that, that's where we're going to add our headers, what we want. And this is where we start with that exclamation point, and we type it out. So we want to do the release date. And then we do another exclamation, and we want the card ID. And this is your text, whatever you want this column header to be. And next, we want the PO number. Oops, PO num, and then another exclamation, and then we want the required ship date. All right, so those are our headers, and that's pretty much it. Next, we wanted to add the body of the email. Drop down below that, but before our before the end. So we're right here. We're ready to add our fields, insert our fields that we want. But we start with the pipe symbol. So I add that pipe symbol, and then we insert our first one we want to do is the release date. So insert field, and then if we look here, we have the 4 tabs. Depends on which we may have to hunt for the one that we want. These are in alphabetical order for this tab, and we're looking for the release date, and here is our release date. Okay, we add another pipe symbol, and now we're ready to insert our next field. And our next one was the card ID. We could do the card ID, which is here, or we could do the release ID. The release ID is kind of our card number dash cycle number dash checksum. So a lot of folks are want to see the release ID, so I'll actually choose the full number there, that release ID. We do another pipe symbol, and let's see, our next one's going to be the PO number. And I don't see supplier PO number or PO number on this one, so we'll check the cycle fields. And it looks like here's our supplier PO number. We'll go ahead and insert that. Okay, we do another pipe symbol. And the last one we're adding is our required ship date. So I'm going to go back here. I think our required ship date was on this first tab. Right there, required ship date. All right, so we got these in the same order: release date, card ID, PO num, and our required ship date. And one thing that we can do, we do have the preview rule up here. I'll go ahead and click that, and it will show us an example of what an alert would look like. This looks very good. It looks nice and clean. I'll go ahead and close that. I know, as I'm saying, this does have an exact syntax we have to follow. If by example, if we were to add an extra exclamation point here at the end of our headers, I'm going to do that, and I'll do a preview rule and show you what that looks like. So now it looks like, we've got an empty box here. So we know something's not quite right because we've got a little bit of extra stuff going on over here at the end. So I can take that exclamation point off. We'll do another preview rule, and you can see that looks good again. Similar thing if if I add an extra pipe at the end, which we don't have to do. I'll do that preview rule. Same thing. We get that extra box here at the end. So the preview rule can be very helpful to see if you've got it right. All right, I'm going to go ahead. I'll go ahead and close that. And so this looks good. I think we got everything we need here. I'll go ahead and choose next and choose finish. All right, and so this looks good. This is our new rule that we've set up specifically for email. And we know this is our digest alert as well. So let's pretend that we have tested this. This looks good. It's exactly what we want. And we're ready to move this to our live site. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'll go ahead and edit this and get this to this point. I'll go ahead and maybe copy the piece that I want here. I want to copy everything that's in this section. Edit, copy. All right. So I'm going to go back over here, pretend this is the live site that we want to add our new rule. So first on our live site, we do have the existing rule that we want to edit, and want to get rid of the email portion, because we're going to set that up on our live site just like we have on our test site. And we finish that. All right. And next we want to add our new rule for our live site. And so we kind of do the same thing. We'll call this our digest for orders released, and select order released to our supplier. Next. And we uncheck browser because we now have the browser alert separate, and we've got this one every 24 hours. Decide who you want that to go to. And if you want to add yourself or other people, you can add as many people as you want here. All right, and then we want to add our subject. Maybe we want the same sort of thing, daily digest for released orders. And we'll put our plant name. All right, and then we know this was working properly in the other environment, so we can just paste this in. And we want to do a preview, make sure that it looks good, make sure everything copied over correctly and still looks nice and clean here. And we do our next, and we finish that. So this is kind of the best practice of, the way to do some of these things. We will actually create one more rule here to give you another example. So let's say we have a, let me go back over to my test site here. And so we have this late shipment or orders not shipped on time. And it's going to browser and email. We want to separate that out. And so we'll edit our existing late shipment. We will get rid of the email because that's what we're doing separate here. And we'll finish that. All right, and so now we're ready to create our grid alert for our late shipment. So we'll add this, and we'll call this a digest for late shipments. And this is the one for when goods are due. We'll go next. We want to uncheck browser. We want to check mark our email. And same thing in my example in this one, I want to do this every 24 hours. Send me alert of everything that the supplier missed shipping on time. And let's see, we can go back. We can even add more folks here. We'll add someone else here. And next, we'll add our, we'll call this one digest rule for late shipments. And one thing that I didn't point out, but we can add more text here. We can add some things like supplier late shipment, or maybe missed shipments. However you want to word that. And if you are testing, maybe you want to point that out as well, if you're doing this in your test environment. And you might want to make this a little more prominent. We can highlight that and change the text. We can maybe make this a 16-point font. Maybe we want to change the color. Maybe we want this in red to make it stand out a little bit. And we'll even do it in bold. Okay, so now we've made it pretty obvious here that we're testing. And maybe we want to do this missed shipments in a larger font as well. Maybe we'll do, there we go, highlight the whole thing here. Maybe we'll do that. Oh, 18 is pretty big. All right. All right, and so now we're ready to start our grid alert. and we will we do that with the open brace and a pipe. And we'll go down a few lines here, and we'll do the pipe and a brace. Okay, now we're ready to start our headers, and we do that with a pipe dash. Go down a couple of lines, pipe dash. Oops, that wasn't a dash. Pipe dash. There we go. All right, so in the middle of the pipe dashes here, we do our headers. I'm just going to keep it simple. You know, obviously you're probably going to have different names and headers and fields that you want, but I'll do the same thing I just did. We'll do release date for first header, card ID, PO number, and required ship date. Or maybe I could just make this missed ship date. You know, whatever you want that header to be. All right, and so in between those, now we are ready to do our choose our fields. We start that with the pipe, and we insert our field. Our first one is the release date, and do another pipe here. And next we will have the what was that, card ID, release ID. All right, and then next we have the PO number. PO number was over here, supplier PO, and our ship date. And it was on this other tab, and it was our required ship date. All right, so good. I was almost hoping this would happen. So occasionally, if your cursor jumps around on the screen, the field might be inserted somewhere else. It's easy enough to fix. I'm just going to delete that because it inserted that in the wrong spot. So I'm going to delete that. I'm going to go back down here. I'm going to make sure and click and put my cursor where it needs to be, and then do this insert field again. I think occasionally when you scroll on the screen, sometimes it ends up, it may move your cursor on this other screen. So, okay, now we got our required ship date here. So, now this, I think this looks good. Let's test this out here. I'll do a preview. And as you can see, you know, exactly how we have this, you know, up here. In our message body that shows up, and we've got our nice grid format here as well. All right, so that looks good, and you know, something to also watch out for, which I'm sure all of you will, if you are going to put, you know, testing here in this section, when you go to move that in the production environment, please start down below that and do your copying. So that you're not putting that in on your live site. All right, we will go ahead and do next here, and we don't need to worry about the repeat on this. And there we have it. Now we have done a couple of these, gone through a couple of examples here. And looks like we are about ready for our next poll question. Now that you've seen a couple of examples of this, we have another poll question. So Scott, if you can put that out there. All right, so now that you've seen a couple of these in action, do you plan on trying to create one of these in your test environment? Check it out. You see several votes coming in, looking good. All right, we'll give it a few more seconds here. Let people submit those votes. All right, looks like it's kind of leveled off now. We can close that and show folks. Looks like quite a few of you are really want to give this a try in your test environment and see how this works out. All right, very good, very good. So we do have a few more things here. Let me get back to our PowerPoint here. We've gone through our second poll question. All right, if you can hide that, please. All right, very good. All right, so next, with that, I think that is about all that I had to go over today. Scott, were there any questions, anything that we need to go over at this time?
We just had two questions that had come through. One was in regards to seeing the alert in both the email and the browser, and like you, I think you went over this earlier and said that if you want to use the grid alert, that you should create them differently, and if you don't want to see that alert in the browser, that you just select that when you create it, so that you're only receiving it via email. The other had to do with copying, pasting that data from the test site to the live site, and any issues with just doing a correct copy and paste directly through. And my suggestion that is I don't typically see that. The only time I've seen issues with that is if there's something enabled within your browser for like emoticons or stuff like that, that sometimes when you paste that over, it tries to autocorrect that into some type of emoticon or something along those lines.
Okay. Okay.
That was it.
All right, very good. If anybody has any questions about this, certainly let me know. Here's my contact information. And again, we'll have this on the website here in a few days. And other than that, everybody have a very good rest of the day. Thank you for your time.